Randy McKee of Soccer 605 here, and I'm here in the bleachers with Coach Gabe Wortman with the Tristate Revolution out of Sioux City, Iowa. Thanks, Gabe, for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, having the opportunity to get on and talk some soccer. I always enjoy that, so let's do this.
Well, it's always great hanging out with an old colleague, Coach. We've got plenty of stories to tell on each other over the years, and all of them good, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we got some good ones. I mean, they make people laugh, I know that. People enjoy them. So.
Well, you know what we're talking about here is a fun matter, but probably not too laughable. But, you know, here we are kind of winding down the summer season. We're here at Brookings on a late summer tournament. You know, what have you had for your team and your club this spring and summer?
We've been doing quite a lot, actually, with being in Iowa. We don't handle our older age groups during the spring because they're in the middle of their high school season and they're representing their high schools, but we've done a lot with, you know, our 14s, our 13s. They've been all over the place just for girls. We just got back from Minneapolis with them playing in the Nebraska League, so they've gone out and they've played and they've been really successful, and that's good. And then we're just now, this is kind of the beginning of us as South Dakota winds down these age groups. We're ramping up, and you know, we ramp up getting ready for Kansas City in November right now. So
yeah, and you have had your teams out at some big tournaments and have had quite a lot of success through the summer.
Yeah, we were at Schwann's Cup with our 13s, and they were the runner-up in the Nebraska League this year in their age group, and they got out of the top flight at the Schwann's Cup. Our 14s won at Norfolk, playing a year up, and I think that was kind of a shock to everybody because it had just been a team that had been very maligned when they were younger, and seeing where they've come in the last year is just outstanding. So yeah, we have some good things going on in our younger age groups. And
what are you doing there to help these kids get more and more competitive as time goes by?
Well, you know, we provide a multitude of options for them, especially during the summer months. I mean, we try to hit, once they get to 13, 3 training sessions a week for each kid we offered. We understand that, you know, kids are not everybody's going to be at those. We ask for the lines of communication, but we ask for 3 training sessions because I think that's where we see the most growth. And then I'm out every day during the summer. I'm out every day, certain time slots for each age group. They have an hour where they can come out and just do technical work, just do some cover work on the ball, and it's just benefited us immensely, you know.
So what do you have for, you know, I see you involved a lot with the teams and stuff when we go to indoor and outdoor tournaments. What do you guys have for coaching staff there at the club?
On the girls' side, we've become a lot more organized. We've brought in the high school coaches to handle a lot of it, and then I handle their springs for them, the 13 and 14 age groups. But we have Jess Costello, who's the head girls coach at North. He handles our U11 girls. Jen Gangler, who's the West High girls head coach, she does our U12 girls. Tyler Mogensen's our U13 coach, and then I work with them. And then on the boys' side, we're starting to get more organized there, but we still do, you know, we're going to rely on some parents too who have gone on and agreed to kind of fit within the curriculum that we've laid down and go on and get some licensing as well. So, you know, we're a little bit of a mix of a professional staff and also parents helping out.
Speaking of curriculum, what sort of, I mean, you've laid out a curriculum. What are some of the things that you're doing that you think are most important at the different age groups?
When they're younger, we really hit into Corver and 1v1. It's all about 1v1 with them, and I think it's a big deal. I mean, we even at the older age group, we still put an emphasis on 1v1 because I think if I'm an outside back and I'm a better 1v1 player than the wide player on the other team, I'm going to be successful. So we really want to hit on those 1v1s, and then as they get older, we really 13 and 14, we get into possession, and it emphasizes possession, and we don't score as many goals as we would like and break teams down as much as we would like from time to time, but we really hit on the possession. And then when they get into kind of 15, 16, we get into counterattacking and really talking about how we're going to really combine and counterattack and go that way. And those tend to be our themes within our age group. And then we don't ask that a coach a certain practice that we have. We ask that they stay within the themes, and if they have games that they think work for them, you know, we let them use that, and it's worked well. You know, we have kids developing, so.
You know, I'll never forget the first time I got to meet Janet Rayfield, who really was basically the first Mia Hamm.
Yeah.
All the records that Mia Hamm broke had at Rayfield Records. And, one of the things that I never really thought about in terms of talking about games is, she praised her coaches in California because the games that they played at practice, she would get in a game and she'd go, oh, that's exactly like the game we played last week in practice.
Yeah, I mean, I think small-sided games are huge, and putting them in and using those, especially I think the game, you give a lot of credit. You want good coaching within the game, but I think using the appropriate game goes a long way, and using it to get out whatever you want in practice is huge. I mean, you can use the same game for a multitude of different things. It's just how you want to manipulate it. So, yeah.
One thing I found over the years, too, and talking about those games, sometimes the difference between having a very successful game and one that you struggle with is just a couple meters of space inside the box, and, you give them space when you want them to have more possession success. You take it away when you want more pressure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something I've realized as I've gotten older, too. I used to, when I was young, I'd lay the cones down, and this is how it was going to be, and we get out there, and they couldn't be successful, and I'd yell at them and pull my hair out and go, God, we're not going to be good. But now I've realized maybe we just need to add 10 yards on each side, and it makes the game easier, and they get a little bit more confident, and we expand it. And yeah, I've learned that, if they're having trouble, make it a little bit bigger and see where it goes.
So, we were down in Sioux City and over the winter, and came to do a little presentation for our My Player Page product, and you had a room full of very interested, I guess, then freshmen.
Yeah.
And, it looked like you had a lot of kids who were really interested in getting into the college ranks. But, I mean, you've had some of your older players now getting commitments and got some coaches looking at some D1 coaches looking at some of your players. So you're probably pretty busy keeping track of that kind of stuff, too.
Yeah, I mean, I would say almost at every practice that I run with the older age group, at least one kid has a question, or I have to, just to talk to them and make sure they're on the right track. On the girls' side, it just happens so fast. It's just so organized. Those kids are getting recruited as sophomores and juniors, and we really have to put an emphasis to get after it early with them. And it's a struggle for them because they look around, they see their friends don't have to worry about it, and we're going, get on campus, go email this coach, and they're going, why, my friends don't do it? Why should I have to do it? But it's what you got to do if you want to maybe have another opportunity that some kids don't.
Well, and from my perspective, it's a difference between a player being able to choose where they go or having to settle because the money's gone or the roster is full or whatever. So, yeah, obviously being proactive is really important for every player.
Yeah, I think in Sioux City, there's certain things we've done to tighten up what the coaching and make sure the kids are ready when they go on. But we've always had at least good athletes who've been out there, and they've gone to, Morningside or Briarcliff because it was local, but they also, some of them were always, I'd see them and they go, man, I really wish that I could have given it a shot at an Augie or a Mankato, but I didn't know what I was doing. And we really want to help them with that opportunity, and then they get to choose, like you just said, choose where they're going, as opposed to, well, it's my senior year, and these are the 3 schools who have seen me, so this is where I guess I'm going to choose.
One of the things that we've seen that, and I'm still not convinced it's a great trend, but one of the trends we've seen across the country the last quite a few years now is, the D1 schools are going after sophomores. And now, even younger, I was reading a story about a school looking at an 8th grader last week. And I'm thinking, that can't be at that age, for a 15, 16-year-old player to say, okay, I'm going to lay out my future where I'm going to school, the whole thing. That really can't be, in some cases, a real healthy situation, can it?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it happens too early. I mean, I'm forced to kind of play by it because it's the rules of the game. But I can't imagine offering a kid before they're a junior. But if you don't, in a lot of cases, you're going to miss out. But yeah, it's because you just don't know where the kid they got the offer, and now it's time to call it a career, basically, because they're going X place, or you just don't know how they're going to develop after that. Some kids just don't develop. They peak out early, and we got to, it'd be nice to see those things happen a little later. I know I've had some girls who've peaked out later with their careers, and it would have been nice to see where they were at, and they had that opportunity.
And I've talked to numerous Division I coaches about that, and really, I don't know any of them who are happy about it. It's just that's what the market is bearing.
Yeah.
I can't believe what I heard last week. Anson Dorrance, who is the guy who originated this concept, is complaining that all the rest of the schools are doing it now, and literally his quote was, "It's killing us." And I'm like, "It's killing you. You're the one who started this stuff, So anyway. We got some of these kids. I know I sat down with a player from Sioux Falls, Darian Polster from Harrisburg the other day, and, she committed as a sophomore to South Dakota State, but that's been her dream to go to South Dakota State ever since she was a little kid. So in a case where that's probably appropriate, but there's a lot of kids, I think, making choices too early.
Yeah, and I see it, in the Midwest, I see more of this, like, hey, mom and dad went to South Dakota State. We're bigger into South Dakota State, and in Sioux City, everybody's like, you're a Hawkeye or a Cyclone or a Cornhusker, and everybody's big into that. So if that offer comes, I can understand that, because that's the way they've been raised. Where I came from on the West Coast, we didn't necessarily have that. I'm an Oregon fan, but mom and dad were like, go find someplace else to go. So I get that, but I agree with you. Like, some people are going, well, hey, I got a Division I offer, and I'm just going to take it, and it's it's good, it's all good, and now I can kind of relax because I can take things easy. I got what I wanted.
Yeah. Well, the players I get a chance to talk to, I ask them to look at their entire college experience and where they're going to live rather than just the soccer team, because that at that D1 level they spend a tremendous amount of time, over 80% on average of their entire college experience is around the soccer team. That's one of the things on our checklist. We provide our kids. We want them to check off lists. We want them to not just evaluate the soccer program, but evaluate the school as a whole. Are you going to be okay? If you come to SDSU, you be in a rural environment. Are you okay with that? Especially being from Sioux City, where I'm not going to say it's it's not a metropolis, but it's a little bit more of a metro area than you're going to find in some of these places. Can you do that? Are you okay going from a bigger high school to a smaller college? Or is going to the bigger school going to be too daunting a task because you're just a face in the crowd? Those are all things that we want them to weigh and evaluate and check mark. Not just that there's a soccer program. We have plenty of girls who come out that don't end up playing soccer because it didn't fit into the check marks and what was really going to be important to them as they went up. And, it's unfortunate, but we also got to give them credit. They have to make a choice, and they made the choice that was best for their future, and more power to them. But you want to evaluate it as a whole and not just, hey, I just want the soccer. Because you're not going to be happy. Well, and absolutely right. Well, made a lot of sense. We're very happy to see what you and your club are doing to elevate the quality of players and play in your club. It's very obvious every time we see them. They're stronger, more competitive, and smarter. And that obviously has a lot to do with the amount of love that you guys are all putting into that club, and obviously the kind of players that you're working with too, because I've seen these kids, and they all have good attitudes, they all have great work ethic, and when you start there, the journey you have to take to get them excellent is not quite as far.
I love working with the group of kids that I work with. They've been fantastic, especially because we had some very, I guess you could say, flush years there with some kids that's now coming to an end, and we had these teams that we as a club, what would have been Gateway City, we didn't do our job in helping develop these players, and I'm a little bit ashamed by that. And I take some responsibility with it, but I think we're fixing that and seeing where they've come, seeing these kids getting offers now when, 4 years ago, it was like everything we could do to put together just a semi-decent game of soccer, and now they're really producing. And
I really do think the bigger issue, Gabe, is when you recognized that you had a problem and you've taken dramatic steps to solve it, and now the outcome is excellence for your club and for the kids that belong to it. And I think that's the story there, not what happened before.
When we just hashed this idea together, this is in its infancy, it's coming out, and I said, it's not that Sioux City didn't have things, the game wasn't being successful in the past, and it had been, and it really, they had produced good players, and things have been going, but the game moved on, and we hadn't moved on as a club. We were still stuck in the early 2000s, kind of operating in what I would call more of an advanced rec stage, and we needed to step it up, and we needed to move on so our girls and our boys could compete with South Sioux's putting together more clubs. We need to be able to make sure they can compete there, and Omaha and Sioux Falls. We want them wherever they go, they can compete, and they feel confident, and they're ready to play the game the right way.
Well, you're getting it done.
Yeah.
Gabe, I want to thank you a lot for spending some time and giving us some insight today in the bleachers visit, and can't wait to watch your team play at 2 this afternoon. I'm on one of your U19 girls team there, and so we'll be keeping an eye on those kids, because you're going to be having some of these kids coming to South Dakota schools, and we look forward to watching them down the road too. Just like you're part of Soccer 605 too, for sure, at Sioux City. Yeah,
we have multiple girls in our club system that are out of Sioux Falls. They come out of North Sioux City, and which makes it interesting sometimes. We have a current girl on our. She's a U15, and she's playing up this week. We brought them up to play in the U19 bracket, and she's playing up, and she plays for Dakota Alliance in the spring, because she's a Dakota Valley girl, and they don't offer soccer. So, yeah, we're definitely involved in South Dakota. We want to see South Dakota soccer do well. It's right there. We're right there. I wouldn't necessarily consider we're in Iowa, but I always like coming up here and seeing all the old faces from that I had the opportunity to work with, and it's nice to see South Dakota soccer flourishing and putting together these environments for kids.
Well, you got deep roots in South Dakota too, and all over. You've touched a lot of soccer programs, and for that we're grateful. Well, Gabe, thanks again for spending some time with us in the bleachers, and want to thank you for watching Soccer 605. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Getting recruited by college coaches is more difficult every year. There are thousands of other athletes competing for your position. MyPlayerPage.com is the best place for athletes to showcase their personal and player information. Check us out today at MyPlayerPage.com. Any sport, any athlete, any state, any city, champions all.